Hello everybody, it's Bazless here, and welcome back to another episode of Infinite Skies. And I have made a lot of changes around here in our storage and AE area. So let's go through what we've got here. The only storage drawers that I've got left are these ones over here, which, as I said, I'm keeping because they allow the AE system to see nuggets, ingots, and blocks, which I think comes in handy. I've expanded our controller, and I've actually expanded that a bit further, but I'll show you that in a minute. Removed all of the chests, and all of the stuff that was in those chests is now in the AE system. I've left this one chest though, and this one is because I haven't been able to figure out how to integrate some parts of the logic pipe system with AE. So, for example, I haven't been able to figure out how to get it to keep creating these sort of things when there isn't enough there. So what I've done is I've left this chest here, and I have added a storage bus onto the side. At some point, all of this will be done through AE autocrafting, so yeah, it will be gone in the end. I have got a lot of these block containers, which contain one item each and can contain a lot of them. So, for example, 120,000 is only about a quarter of this block container. I've got extra discs here, and I'm using 4 of them basically at the moment. It might be on to the 5th. Yep, it's on to the 5th one. And yes, this is a cell workbench which you use to say what item is going to go into those disks. Now, one of the important things about this is making sure that you have the priority set properly on these so that it prioritizes storing them in there rather than onto the other disks. Downstairs, I have extended our controller out a bit this way, and today we're going to be working off this. We are going to start setting up our autocrafting area. Specifically, we're going to set up the molecular assemblers, I think they are, these ones. We're going to set up a whole lot of these, and these are for items that can be crafted just in crafting tables. So I'm not going to do machine setup in this episode. That's going to be something that goes on over a bit of time, but we're going to set up all our molecular assemblers and some crafting CPUs over in that area over there. Now, we need to connect up our Emmy Controller here all the way over to there, and we obviously have these Quartz Glass cables, and they can take 8 channels each. There are also dense cables, these ones, and they can take 32 channels each. The issue is that these also take up a full block space, each of them, so to take a lot of channels out through there is going to take up a lot of room. With what I'm planning on setting up over there, I need at least 64 channels, so that's at least 2 dense cables running all the way over there. Dense cables are also very expensive, so the other thing that we're going to get into is the point-to-point things in AE, so these point-to-point tunnels. So these allow you to transfer a dense cable across a flux cable, and specifically it will allow you to transfer up to 4 dense cables through one of the normal non-dense cables, I guess they are. So one of the normal cables. So we have to make up a few things here. So I want, at least for the moment, 8 of these. How much Fluix do we have? Does it matter which one I use? Not particularly. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. We are going to need some dense cables. So I keep on going to a wrong search box there. Dense cables, and we'll need at least 2 different colours initially, and I think just because they're the easier ones for me to get, it'll be blue and dark blue. So to get that, you just have to colour the normal dense cables, which means we need these covered cables, which take wool and the fluids cables. Okay, can we get a stack of those? Let's go for... can't quite get 2 stacks. Well, I can make more of that other stuff anyway. Put those back in there, and I want this one. So I want at least 16 of those. That will be okay for now. And let's grab some lapis and some bone meal. And let's just grab a bunch of that and put it in. Okay, so if we take 1 lapis, put it in the middle, and surround it with the dense cables, then we'll get 8 of those. And we also want to do the blue dye. There we go, and go around there. Okay, I've got a couple more cables here, including some different covered cables, and what I want to turn this into is I want to get some smart cables as well. And what smart cables allows us to do is they allow us to... I wonder whether it can use the coloured one in there. Cable. If I put that there... Okay, it looks like I need to colour them after making the smart cables. Okay, good to know. So again, we'll need some blue. So what do the smart cables allow us to do? They basically allow us to see how many channels are being used on an AE network or on that particular cable. And channels are a very important part of AE2. You can only use a limited number of channels per cable, otherwise things stop working. So now that I've got all this, the last thing that I'm going to need for our cabling is a card of some sort. Now, can't remember off the top of my head what this is called. This one here, the memory card. Okay, I need one of those. So, how does this point-to-point stuff work? Well, what we can do is if we have one cable here and one cable here, then we can have a point-to-point interface on each of those, and then run some of this, any of the other cables in between those 2 points, and then we can link them together, shift right click on that one to save the settings, and right click on that one to store the settings over there, and then it will say that whatever's coming in through here is going to go out through that side there. Seems pretty good. And how am I going to set that up? Well, downstairs, and this is why I've set this out in this particular way, what I'm going to do is take these and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to have... No, this is wrong. Okay, take those off. What we actually want to do here is we want these cables first attached onto there. So the Emmy Controller here is able to output 32 channels per side of the blocks. And these cables are able to transfer 32 channels. So that works out like that. Then I am going to put these point-to-point interfaces on there. Like so. I'm going to need some more of these. And then I'm going to have two different colors there, and the light blue there. So these two will not actually be connected to each other. I do kind of want them connected to each other, but I want them connected with the quartz fiber. And what the quartz fiber allows is it allows power to transfer through here, but not the data. And so only 4 channels are going to be used up here and 4 channels here. The other 4 channels that are going to be used here, because each of these 4 channels is actually one of these point-to-point tunnels. The other 4 point-to-point tunnels that are going to be on this particular piece of cable are going to be over in the other area. And this one is probably going to go somewhere else. But this is basically how I'm going to set this guy up. And then I'm going to run other cables around later. But there's one other thing that we want to do. We also want to connect up a piece of quartz fiber there with, yeah, probably need to use this one. Is that the light blue? And this is light blue. Like so. So now that's going to actually put power into these cables. This is not connected through with data down to here. All it's doing is allowing power to transfer through there. Next thing that we want to do is we want to create our auto-crafting things. So what we're going to need is a whole lot of interfaces. A whole lot of these guys. Many more than this though. So let's just make up some of those. Another stack is actually more than what I'm going to need, but I'm going to have plenty of use for that later. And we are going to want the molecular assemblers. These guys. And in total, I want quite a few of those. What am I running out of now? Crafting tables. Well, this is probably enough to get started with. It might be enough in total, actually. So I've laid out where I'm going to have these, and I've actually figured out I'm going to have one in the ground, because otherwise I just don't have the height to work with here. And then I'm going to put molecular assemblers all the way around. And this is going to continue up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With molecular assemblers all the way around the outside. So each molecular assembler can be used by this Emmy interface to create one thing at a time. Because I'm surrounding it on all 4 times, then if this one's got a recipe for a certain thing, then it will be able to do 4 of those at once, making it a lot faster. And I am going to have pillars like this in each of these spots. So let me get that finished. I'll set up all of these. I'll also run those cables over here to get our Emmy system connected up, and I'll be back to show you how that looks and do the setup of the P2B in just a moment. Welcome back, and I've connected this up through to the other side. I put on 2 more lots of these P2P tunnels. So this bunch is going to go somewhere in the base, and this bunch is the one that I'm taking through to our auto crafting area. So if you can see here, there are 7 of the 8 channels used on this particular glass cable, and those are each of the P2P devices that are connected. I also have, this one here has one channel used on it. I've connected up this P2P device up to one over the other side. I'll show you just in a minute. And this one back there has got 32 out of 32, and I've also connected that one up. So we need to connect the last one up. So again, all you do to do that is with the memory card, shift right click, and that saves the settings of that one. Then we'll go over here, and I have wired up a bit on the side. This particular one is going to come out. Now let me just get this right. This particular one's going to come out here. So I did that wrong. I shift clicked there rather than clicking. Okay. So let's just go fix that up. So there. So that one is now connected up through there. You can do it either way. You just have to pair the two devices together. And now you can see that this one is using 16 channels here and 8 channels there, but the actual main part here is using 24. And this one over here, this dense cable, is using all 32 channels. That's because these are all connected up to those ME interfaces. Each ME interface uses a channel, and so we've got 8 channels going through this, and that's where this splits off different directions to go to each of these stacks, and all of those come together to make the 32 channels that are going through the P2P tunnel and back along there. So over here I've got one final P2P tunnel coming through here. I'll probably never need as many channels as what I've got available in here, but here we've got where I'm going to set up the auto crafting. And you see I connected up a terminal here, and this is access to all of the stuff that's in our system from here, just as though we were over there. So what do we need to do the auto crafting with? We've got the ME interfaces and the molecular assemblers. Now we need some crafting CPUs to do this. Okay, so I wonder if crafting's the best way to find them. So we have these ones. We need a whole lot of crafting co-processors, and I think I'll probably go for the 16K crafting storage for now. I can always put more in later. And all of these use crafting units. And that's iron, ME glass cable, a logic processor, and a calculation processor. So how many of these are we going to do? Probably for now, and if I do a stack of those, crafting again, a stack of those, we've run out of a glass cable. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. Let's get a bunch more of that, and now that should be plenty. Now we'll need the 16K crafting storages. For that we're going to need some of these 16K ME storage components, and again this just comes down through here. Maybe make a stack should be plenty, and this one we want, so that's for 4K. We're going to want 4 times this, 4 times 3 times this, 12 of these. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Put those back into the system, and that should allow us to make 4 of these. Okay, put those in along with these, and we can now make our 16K crafting storage, and that's 4 of those. Next gen crafting, here we come. Okay, and we want some coprocessors to go with that. A coprocessor just means that it will be able to do more tasks at once, just making the crafting go a lot faster. So I'll start off with a stack of those and see where that gets us to. Now, for each one of these, we can put down our crafting storage, and that's then going to use up another channel here. We've got plenty of channels here, but I'm pretty sure that, and as you see, it actually has to be some sort of even, well, some sort of even shape. It can't have like one thing sticking up like that, otherwise it fails to make it into a proper device. But any shape that has some sort of even shape like that is perfectly fine. And see, that's still only one channel, even though we've got lots of other items in there. I don't know how big I'm going to make these in the end, but we'll start off just with that size and see where that takes us. Okay, there we go. We've now got 4 crafting CPU setups sorted out. And what is that going to allow us to do? Well, this is all connected up to our other system. So let's go over there to set up our crafting. I really like the way that this is looking, actually. I love the colours in it and how it kind of glows. I'm thinking I'm going to move that setup over to the other side and switch the accelerators over here, just so that we've got a clear view of that. But the next thing that we want to do is, there are other terminals that we need. We are going to need an interface terminal, which is an Emmy interface, an illumination panel, and an engineering processor. That shouldn't be a problem. And we will need a pattern terminal, which is a crafting terminal and an engineering processor. Again, not a problem. Crafting maestro. Okay, interface can go over there. Pattern can go there. What does the interface terminal allow us to do? Well, in here we can see all of the molecular assemblers that we've got configured there. All of the interfaces that are connected to molecular assemblers. So this is where we put our recipes. Now the pattern terminal allows us to encode recipes, and I think the first thing that we should encode is a recipe for a blank pattern. We're going to need one of those first, so let's put that in there, and this is where you put your blank patterns. Now I can go encode that pattern and I'll have that. I probably don't want to use pure Certus Quartz, so I can wipe it by shift right clicking, put that back in there, and we can replace that just with normal Certus Quartz, which I have got a ton of, and it's valid as well. Let's now put the pattern into here. I don't know which of those interfaces that has gone into. All I know is that all of these in each row belong to the same interface over there. So what I'm going to do is actually have any of the patterns I use. I'm going to start laying them out going straight down, and then once I get to the bottom, start on the next one. So as few as possible recipes are being used by a single assembler, and therefore there won't be as much contention for the molecular assemblers there. But now we should be able to go and say, here, I want some blank patterns. Let's say I want 30 of them, and it says, okay, we're missing some quartz glass. Well, can't do that one just yet. Let's try just 10 for now. Okay, start, got them. That's quick. So much better. I'll put that in there. I think that quartz glass seems to be something that we might want to do a recipe for. So that is here. let's shift click that in. Nether quartz, dust, and glass. Grab one of those. The pattern is there. If you see, the pattern doesn't actually show what it is. If you hold down shift, it will show you what the pattern's for. And it also, if you hold down shift in here, it also, oh no, it just shows you automatically in here. So there you go. Now we can get quartz glass. Now we should be able to come into here and go blank pattern and ask for 20 more of those. Because it can craft the quartz glass, it will do that automatically as well. And if we were actually fast enough, we'd actually be able to see it crafting over there. But let's just do one final test of this to compare it against the logic pipe system. So something that I'm probably going to want at some point is a chest. Now, chests aren't very difficult to craft, obviously. Spruce wood chest, okay, that's a good one. Let's take that pattern. Now we want to also have the recipe for spruce wood, which let's just grab that. So clear that out. 1 spruce wood gives me 2 logs. Okay, let's encode that pattern. And using these 2 patterns, putting them in here, I will now be able to ask the system for, let's grab those out for a second, ask the system for a chest and start it, and the chest is there. Now let's do the similar thing in the logistics system, which is also able to craft a chest. So let's grab the one that's already in there and then ask for another one. And we're waiting. And we're waiting longer. Still waiting, I'm guessing. Yep. And the reason for this is that all of the data being sent across between places in ME is pretty much instantaneous, whereas for logistics pipes they have to travel through all those pipes from place to place. Oh, the chest is here now. Much quicker to use the ME system. But that will be all for this episode. Between episodes I'll probably set up a lot more crafting recipes for things that we've already got, things that we've already done, and probably tear out a little bit of the logistics auto crafting. Anything that isn't really tied to logistics very strongly, I'll probably tear out and then put that into this system, just because it's so much quicker and so much easier to use. But yes, until next time, I hope that you enjoyed the episode and hope that you like my little forest, I guess, maybe of auto crafting behind me. Have a great week, and I hope to see you again later. Bye!